Well, good morning, everybody. Danny back from Deepsouth Homestead on Porch Time today. And guys, I'm back over at Pecan Grove again. It is in the 60s out here this morning and clear. The breeze is blowing. It is so good. God is so good. We have waited so long to be able to have this type of temperature here that it is just unreal. I'm just sucking it up. You know, I don't even want to be doing anything really. I just want to sit and suck it up after all this whole summer of nothing but relentless heat. Yesterday was the first day that we did not reach 100 degrees. We got 98 and I worked all day. I told Wanda on the live stream the other night we talked about it, I was like, oh my gosh, I said, it was so good. I said, I was able to work all day. We had a cool front come through and it only got 98. And to say that is really saying something. But we got 2 3/8 inches of rain the other day, which we praise the Lord for that. The grass here was about dead, and now it's all greened up again. Now the sad part about it was it came within a couple of hours, and a lot of it ran off, which was kind of good for the ponds because now here at Pecan Grove we got a little bit of water in the pond. We didn't get a lot, but we wasn't really low. We're only like 2 foot low here. But now at Deepsouth Homestead, the weather was a little bit different there. It rained a lot longer over there, looks like. Wanda and I was actually gone during all this. We were hoping to make a video in the near future about something that we went to look at, and it rained relentlessly while we were there. I told Wanda, I said, the first chance I get to go look at something and it rains the whole time, you know. But those people needed rain just like we did, and it was a blessing to be able to see the rain at least, you know. Deepsouth Homestead, the ponds got maybe a foot of water in them. They're still like 6 foot low. They're still really low. But hey, we will take what we can get right now, you know. And praise the name of the Lord for getting a little bit of rain that we've gotten. And finally, a morning in the 60s. We've had 2 mornings in a row in the 60s. This is a Sunday morning I'm shooting this, and it is just wonderful. I'm sitting out here in a short sleeve shirt just basking up the coolness. And I know you can't see the breeze blowing. Occasionally there's a Japanese lantern hanging behind me here that occasionally it'll pick up and start blowing when the breeze picks up. I'm kind of down in a hole here where I'm at, up under some trees, and a lot of times the breeze don't get in here like it does up on top of the hill, but nevertheless it's cool, and we're thankful for that. I don't want to take a lot of time today because I got a lot I really want to enjoy here today, and because it's cool early. It's going to get up to 96 today, and it'll still get warm. Not to say that the heat's gone. Dove season has opened up down here in the south of Mississippi. So if you hear some guns popping in the background, don't think anything about it. Dove season has opened up. Yesterday, Saturday, they were popping everywhere. And we don't have any fields here planted for them or nothing, so we're not really dove hunting. But if you hear guns shooting in the background, just understand that's what it is. The hunting seasons has begun, you know, and it's always a time of the year. Used to, I'd be in a field somewhere yesterday dove hunting when I was younger, but now I like to hunt, don't get me wrong, but it's not as important as it was when I was younger. I'm more about just enjoying everything now. Technically, I'm more about planting the fields for the wildlife than I am about shooting the wildlife. Now you'll probably hear some crows. I've been trying to thin them out. We actually, believe it or not, we have a crow season here. I've been trying to thin the crows out. I've got, I think I'm up to number 12 on crows, and there's still 8 more in the group back here and that I haven't taken out yet. And we're trying to get rid of them because they just destroy all my gardens, my corn when I plant it. If I try to pour out any corn for the deer, they find it and they want to eat it all up, so I'm having to pour the corn out late in the evenings. I can't pour it out where they can come out during the day and eat it. And when I plant food plots, they'll just go through there and peck up all the seeds. I mean, so we're trying to eradicate as many of them as we can. But with that being said, this is all leading up to what I want to talk about. I want to talk about enjoying life. Now, last week we talked a little bit about that, but today I want to talk about it in a little bit different direction. Enjoying life, don't give it away. Now, I know that sounds kind of strange, but and I guess if this may be more directed toward the younger age, but I find as I get older and talking to lots of people, they're in bondage. They're in financial bondage. They cannot enjoy their lives. They have to work every day of their life. And that makes me sad, because when you have to work every day of your life and you didn't make provisions or plans to compensate for that, you went and put yourself in a 30-year mortgage, or, you know, that's called living outside our means. And people go, well, I got to live where I'm at, move. That's what I did. You know, when things got to be too expensive where I was living at, I moved. I moved to a more rural area in another place where I could afford to live there. I lived within my means. And I think that's the problem with most of us. We think we have to stay right where we're at. We go, well, this is my job, I have to stay here. No, you don't. You can get another job of another kind, and that's where I'm trying to say this in a way that I don't want to offend anybody, but society as a whole has deemed that we must get an education in a particular field so that we can spend the rest of our life in that field. And I am totally against that. Now, I did go to college, and I went to college to be a mechanic. And as soon as I got out of the mechanic course, I was college with a mechanic, and of course military came after me, and wanted me as a mechanic on a diesel, you know, the naval destroyers and stuff like that, and that's another whole story. But I worked in the mechanic field for just a little while, and I realized while I was in there, the owner of the mechanic shop, which was a dealership for a Chevrolet dealership, came to me and said, would you be interested in learning body work? Because I need a body man. Well, man, hey, that was right up my alley. I loved body work, you know. So I told him, I said, yes, sir. And I jumped in and I, you know, I tried learning body work, and I was really good at it because it's something I like doing. And then I spent, you know, some time in body work, fixing bent up cars, wrecked cars, stuff like this. And then I started building my own classic show cars and stuff, and building racing engines and stuff. And that went off into a whole different field that I won't get into. But I didn't keep all my eggs in one basket. And when I got tired of, not that I got tired of doing body work, I was young and I wanted to expand my horizons. So when the opportunity presented itself, I went to work logging. Now, of all things in the world, you go, logging? I went, yeah, because I was outdoors. I did not want to be in the same building, because that's what happened to me doing mechanic work. That's what happened to me doing body work. I was in the same building every day for days on end, and I just did not like going to the same place of work every day. Logging, we constantly changed locations about once every, it depended on this track of the timber, and I got to see the whole southern part of the United States down in here where I'm living at, and I got to learn everywhere, learn people everywhere, look at beauty and nature and God and everything. And I was, even though we destroyed a lot of land cutting timber, now I hate, but I did get to learn and see a lot of this part of the country, and it kept me where I loved it. And then when after 15 years of that, I said, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I'm kind of person that likes to build stuff, and y'all can probably tell that on my YouTube channel. But I went to work doing, well, I've been studying for years carpentry, because I built all my own stuff. I've never really ever lived in a house that anybody else ever built. I rented one for 6 months while I built one of my homes, but I've always built all my own homes. Some of them might not look the best in the world, but I built them nevertheless. But it's how you learn a skill. And then I started building homes, and I was very good at it. I built $1 million plus homes, many of them. I built all the homes that nobody else would take because of the angles of the roof and, you know, just different things that I got into on that. But I did not keep all my eggs in one basket. And by doing these different jobs, it kept me moving around even in the country. I mean, I worked in downtown New York, I worked in Connecticut, you know, Massachusetts, a lot of places up and down the eastern seaboard, North Carolina, different places, Louisiana, you know, just different states around. And it helped me to realize that you don't have to get stuck in one location. You can enjoy your life without giving it away to, quote unquote, the system. You know, I mean, and that's where many young people are today. They specialize in a particular field, and they go to work in that field, and then when there's shortages in that field and they have to be laid off, they can't get a job because they don't know how to do nothing else. Rather than expanding their horizon and looking into other fields and just trying something new. Maybe the field you're in is not the one you want. I mean, you don't know how many college people I've talked to that are now in their 30s and 40s that went to school to be a particular thing, and none of them are doing what they went to school to do. I'm not doing what I went to school to do. I hate mechanicking now. I mean, I work on everything I got if it breaks down. But as far as liking to do it, now the only thing that I like to do in mechanicking was when I rebuilt my Cub tractor. That restoration of things, literally because I'm mechanically inclined, I love. That is what I love doing, is restorations. And sitting in a metal building with a computerized program that I plug automobiles into, that is not my my view of being a mechanic. You know, I mean, the machines are doing everything. You just read what the machine says and replace the part. You know, I mean, you don't really have to know a lot about the machine. I mean, I went to school to learn how to run all these machines and stuff like these computers, and I was like, this is not where I want to stay at. You know, and unless you try, you don't know. And God, you know, the thing about the Lord and each one of us is, the Lord gives each one of us gifts and talents. And believe it, those two are different. A gift and a talent is two totally different things. People think that their talents are gifts from God, and no, they're not. A talent is just a talent, just something you're just good at naturally because of your gifts. The scriptures gives us particular gifts. There's the gifts of healing, the gifts of prayer, the gift of helps. There's all these gifts that the scriptures talks about. But there's many talents. People go, well, I play the piano, that's a talent. I play a guitar, that's a talent. I play the radio. Sometimes I get a lot of static. But nevertheless, those are talents. Those are not gifts from God. Now, they're to be used for the Lord. And some people are mechanically inclined. I'm mechanically inclined. I went to school. I studied mechanical drawings in school. I drew blueprints. I do different things like that. And all these things are things that I love to do. Now, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing that of all the knowledge I've gained over my whole life, of all the different jobs, I didn't give my life away, I don't think. I didn't give it to society. In other words, y'all have heard me tell my story in the past. I was a kid that everybody said their parents told us, don't hang around with him now because he ain't never going to amount to a hill of beans. He ain't never going to own nothing, nothing like that. And guys, I've had 5 homes paid for. And I've worked everywhere I've ever wanted to work. I've traveled everywhere I've ever wanted to travel. And yet I was the kid, all the parents, because I didn't follow the cookie cutter lifestyle that society said I should follow, said, don't hang around with him now. He's never going to amount to a hill of beans. most of the parents who told their kids that, those kids are still in debt up to their eyeballs and never going to be able to retire. And then when they do retire, they'll be so old they can't do anything about it. Their homes are not paid for, nothing like that. Mainly because they wanted everything Mama and Daddy had and Grandma and Grandpa had all at once. I wasn't that way. I started out with a little small house and something I could add on to, you know, and then later I sold that house, and I took that money and I built me a little bit bigger house, bought me a few more acres of land. And you have to work your way up. It's a ladder. You don't just start off at 20-something years old or 30 years old and go out and buy 100 acres of land unless you got a dadgum good job that you know is, you know, or somebody left you a bunch of money or something, which my family was so poor we didn't even know what money was. But, you know, you've got to be able to, baby steps. You got to work your way up the ladder. You can't just have everything all at once. You can't have the brand new cars and the fine homes that's 2,000 square, 3,000 square foot homes, and, you know, all these amenities of life, vacations all the time and stuff like that. I went 7 years. I didn't leave the house hardly. I didn't go out to eat. I didn't do nothing, because I paid off debt, so that today I can sit here and make this video. You know, I mean, it takes sacrifice, and I'm learning that the age we live in today, sacrificing is not something that people really like to do. They want to enjoy the amenities of life, and well, let me put it this way. I turned the radio on the other day for the first time in forever, because I've got where I don't even listen to music anymore, because the same people that own the music industry are the same people that own the prisons. And I got to putting two and two together. I'm like, this kind of music is leading people to have an attitude that causes them to break the law, and then they end up in prison, you know? So I've quit listening to a lot of different kinds of music, and I happened to turn the radio on, and when I did, I just turned it right back off. You know, it was so disturbing to just listen to the radio anymore. I realized when you don't hear it for a long period of time and then you turn it back on, it's all wicked. I mean, literally, it's wicked. And I was like, I just flipped it right back off. I'm like, I'm not going to listen to this junk anymore, because it leads you down different paths that I don't want to be on anymore. I want to be able to enjoy my life. And the problem is, so many city people have moved into rural areas now, and they don't know what peace and quiet is. That's what we have discovered. Places that we go, city people make so much noise, and then they live for the weekend. And guys, every day, there's a verse in Romans that talks about some people hold one day up, some people hold another day up, some people hold every day the same. But they do it to glorify God, and that's me. I don't hold any one day any higher than another day. Every day is the same to me. God is a God of every day in my life, and I worship the Lord every day of my life, and I believe that's the way He intended for it to be. I don't think we should hold off our whole week and then get down to the end of the week and, oh, today is worship day, you know. No, every day is a day that the Lord has made. It is a day that we are to worship the Lord. And I wake up every morning in prayer. I go to bed every night in prayer. And guys, I spend all day in prayer. As I'm just piddling around doing whatever I do, enjoying my life, I'm constantly thinking about others. I'm constantly praying for people that I know needs praying for. And I'm thanking the Lord. You know, the Lord tells us in the latter days, the problem with people, they're unthankful, they're unholy. I mean, they're lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. And that's the whole problem. We live for the weekends because we've got ourselves so deep in debt up to our eyeballs that when the weekend comes, we take a deep breath and we go, man, I got a day off, or I got 2 days off. And we bust our butts trying to do everything that we didn't do all week, and we call that living. That's not living. And my point is today, and I know some people are in a position where you can't do anything about it now because of decisions that's been made. I know I have an elderly gentleman not far from me right here who's in that boat. He's in his 70s, and he's made bad decisions his whole life. And now he has nothing. He's having to live on Social Security. And it makes him sad because he comes and talks to me, and he says, man, if I'd have just lived my life the way you did. He said, I believed the system, and I'm so sad that I did. And I told him, I said, man, don't beat yourself up. Look, it is what it is. Enjoy the time that you have. God has given you some time now. Go and enjoy your life now while you still can. And don't waste it, you know, and don't give it away. In other words, you're giving it away. When I say giving it away, I mean giving it back to the system. Don't give it back to the system. The Bible says, and the Scripture teaches us, to come out from among her, my people, and be separate. Now that's talking about coming out from among the wicked system. But it means don't get caught up in this worldly system. We are in the world, but we are not of the world. And that's what we have to get in our brains up here. That's what took me forever, because I tried climbing that corporate ladder, and I did, and I got to the top. I've been extremely wealthy. I've been extremely poor. I've lost everything I've owned twice or 3 times, and it's all a learning experience, you know, because I believed the system when I first started out. And thank the Lord above, I learned at a young age not to follow the system, because it's not here for my benefit, it's here for their benefit. And I watch a YouTube channel occasionally, and I just love this gentleman. It's Boss of the Swamp, JC. He reminds me of myself so much when I was a little bit younger. I just love watching him in his lorry. I mean, guys, if you haven't checked him out, go check him out. Tell him Deepsouth Homestead sent you over there. They are the salt of the earth. And when I look at him and listen to his journals, he writes journals like I wrote journals. I mean, it is so refreshing to see someone with his mentality today. And he's had cancer and everything else and all the things of life. He just got through having COVID again for I don't know how many times. I mean, I love that type of stuff. I'm not interested in these YouTube channels that live out here living this fancy life and jet setting here and going there, doing this, doing that, and that doesn't mean anything to me. What means something to me is people who live their life and they don't throw it away, or they don't give it away. And JC is one of the ones, him and Ms. Lori, I believe, live that lifestyle. And guys, today I'm just, maybe I'm talking to the younger group more than I am the older group, but I just want us to please stop. Scripture says, be still and know that I am God. And that's what I want us to do. I want us to take time. I want us to enjoy our life and don't throw it away. Okay? Or don't give it away. So guys, I love you and I appreciate you. This is not meant to offend anyone. This is meant literally to be an encouragement to get out, live your life, do the best you can do while you can still do it. Thank you guys from Deepsouth Homestead.